Get a load of that picture. Do I have a shoulder or no? Who knows? Pretty good, pretty good. All right. I'd like to tell you guys a story today. 3 years ago, it was my little sister's birthday. My big sister, my mom, and I took her to Detroit to see her favorite band in concert. Ooh, that wasn't good. All right, so we're in Detroit, 9 o'clock at night, pitch black. There was one street lamp working on the other side of the block, and we're standing outside the venue. We're all standing there, and an arm grabs my shoulder, spins me around, and I'm face to face with the largest black man I've ever seen in my life. He was 6'5", 300 pounds. He had a XXL hoodie on. His jeans were down to his knees. He had a white do-rag on, and on top of that, Detroit Tiger snapback on sideways. And I'm looking up at him. He's looking down on me. And he goes, "Hey, you." I'm looking up, and I say, "Yeah? What are you in line for?" "A concert." "Some sort of rock group?" "Yeah." Then he looks at me and he goes, "Man, you're going to have the greatest time of your life. We're going to be able to hear that music from outside. Have a great night." And walked away. I didn't say anything. Then I looked down. My hands, they're shaking. And my knees, I can't feel them anymore. I was scared of this man. And I didn't know why back then, but now I do. That's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. Our families lay the foundation for our beliefs. I've been fortunate enough to have been brought up in a family that values culture, diversity, and ethnicity, yet somehow a wall of preconceived ideas had formed in my head, right there. And then I realized every day I watch the news. When I wake up, I watch the news. When I get home from when I get home from school, I watch the news. And before I go to bed, I watch the news. Every day, I see that there's a murder in Detroit, there's another arson, there's another armed robbery, or there's another rape. And every day, I see who did it. And every day, I see another black male. My whole life, the news has taught me that if there's a black male in Detroit, you better be afraid of him. And that's not true. Same goes for Muslims. 26 dead at the Sandy Hook shooting, 20 of which were kindergartners. An act of violence fueled by political views. But it wasn't called a terrorist attack. And that's because over the past 16 years in America, we have been taught that for something to be a terrorist attack, the perpetrator has to say Allah before he pulls the trigger, and that is not true. For something to be a terrorist attack, you have to use violence to show how you're feeling, get your viewpoints across through violence. It has nothing to do if you're Muslim or not. But that's how we've been taught. Whenever there's a crime in America and a Muslim did it, it's a terrorist attack. And that is not true. Every single day of my life, the news put on another brick on this wall of preconceived ideas I didn't know I had. It's not just the news. Whenever you see a movie, whenever you see a TV show, and there's a gang in there, it's always black. The one time there wasn't a black gang, it's in West Side Story, and there's a bunch of white kids singing and dancing. Whenever you see a terrorist in a movie, he's Muslim. And this is not true. Being Muslim has nothing to do with if you're a terrorist or not. Being black doesn't mean you're in a gang. But Hollywood is portraying these people that way. So every single movie I watched, every single TV show I saw, another brick was added onto this wall of preconceived ideas I didn't know I had. Every little bit counts, right? Especially when you're making a wall. Every little bit counts. Every little joke you tell adds onto this wall. If I say, there's this blonde girl, you obviously know that in this joke, this blonde girl's going to be dumb. If I say, you drop your iPhone in water, put it in a bag of rice, leave it out overnight, you know where this joke's going with the Asian population. Every little bit counts. Every little joke we say, even though we think they're harmless, they just add bricks onto this wall of preconceived ideas. And this wall just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and no one's doing anything about it. So now I want to take a second, and we're just going to see how big your wall of preconceived ideas is. And if I was in your shoes 3 years ago, and a white kid from Howell was given a speech about being open-minded, and we're just going to see how open-minded you are compared to me, I'd say there's no freaking way that this kid is more open-minded than me. This is not possible. He's a white kid from Howell. It doesn't add up, right? Math's not there. But let's see. I want you guys to close your eyes. Just imagine what I say, all right? Close your eyes. Here we go. An Ivy League student. An immigrant. A criminal. A suicide bomber. A good student. A successful person. And finally, a bad student. You guys can open your eyes now. If you are able to profile any of those examples by race, by gender, by religion, by age, you have a wall of preconceived ideas like I once had, because none of those examples had anything to do with those. There's no correlation between the two. But our whole lives we've been taught there is. This whole entire speech boils down to one thing that you've heard every single day of your life. Don't judge a book by its cover. And that's true. If you don't judge a book by its cover, you'll realize that that blonde girl is pretty smart. You might think that my Asian friend's really good at driving. He might even be the Stig from Top Gear. You'll realize that that Muslim on the plane sitting down next to you is just going to see his newborn nephew. And then I'm taken back to the worst day of my life. A day I'll never forget. A day I was never more disgusted in myself. Then I realized that that man just wanted me to have a good time at the concert. Thank you.